Welcome to today's cooking class. I'm so glad that you're here today because we are going to be making carne guisada. Now, you probably know that this translated means beef stew. Here we go. Jacqueline's going to be modifying it yet again. Yes, today I'm going to be doing a modification. I'm, of course, going to be using ground chicken and a sweet potato. Are you guys excited? You should be. Now, one of the things that I've been sharing most recently is how to save money on your grocery bill. And seriously, when I go to the store, I look for things like this. $2 off this package. Why? Because the date was going to be going off in a couple days. This was June 4th. But seriously, freeze it. Save yourself money. What we're going to do today, I'm going to get started really quickly here, and then I'll share some fun food facts a little bit later on. But we are going to be using our multi-purpose steamer. Now, I thought what we do today is do a stuffed sweet potato. So I've washed this, I've trimmed the ends off, making sure that it's tidied up a little bit. And we will need to pierce it. You can use a fork. I'm just going to use my ceramic knife. It's important that you pierce the outside of your sweet potato because you need the steam to escape, or you're going to have an exploding sweet potato everywhere. Okay, so I've got a few pokes in there. I'm going to put a lid on it, and we're literally going to microwave it. You could do this in a crock pot. It's going to take you all day. Seriously, one of the fastest ways to do sweet potatoes is in the microwave. It takes about 5 minutes. We've got the sweet potato. Hang on. Is it a sweet potato or is it a yam? I don't know if you saw that, but it is a yam. Okay, they are totally interchangeable. When you go to a grocery store, you're gonna probably see it called a sweet potato. Sweet potatoes are normally a yellow inside. That one was clearly orange. Orange is a yam. Yams are a little bit sweeter. So yes, it is still a sweet potato. You decide which one you want. As I said, they're interchangeable. On our stove, we are going to use our brand new saute pan. Oh my gosh, I love this. Look at that coating in the inside. And we're going to heat this up with a little bit of oil, and we're going to start getting some flavors happening here. So I'm just going to start heating the pan. I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom here. We've got our pan getting heated with a little bit of oil. We're going to mix our package of carne guisada in with water. So I've got roughly a half a cup here, and I'm going to literally put the entire package in here, and using our mini whisk. Don't you love this cute little thing? We're going to just mix it up here. By letting it soak in the water for a period of time, you're going to start getting some great flavors happening. What are the flavors in here? Well, ingredients. Everything that we have is gluten-free, so in here is rice flour, onions, tomato powder, sea salt, inactive nutritional yeast, so good for you, cumin, oh my gosh, and that's what I'm smelling right now, garlic and black pepper. Okay, so our fry pan is heating. I'm going to take my ground meat. Now I'm using ground meat because we're doing stuffed sweet potatoes, stuffed yams. And one of the things that you'll notice when you're cooking anything that's got ground meat, have you noticed that it tends to clump right up? Super excited to introduce you to this if you haven't seen it already before. This is our meat separator. Yes, this is perfect for ground meat because when you get those clumpy chunks, I know some of you may be using a spatula and trying to cut it up, but once it starts cooking, this can be a little hard to do. Some of you may be using forks or knives, but it may be cutting the bottom of your pan, which if you're not using a good quality pan, you might be eating Teflon. Good grief, you don't want that happening. And this, of course, will not damage your pans. Okay, fun food facts. Okay, carne guisada is carne, which means meat, and guisada is of course Latin for spicy stewed meat, yummy. It's traditionally a Latin dish, and it was actually originated in Puerto Rico. And I know I'm not saying that right, but Puerto Rico. Got my R's rolling there. But it can be found in Tex-Mex restaurants. It can be found in South America. And of course, because we're more a global country and the world is more global, you're gonna find something like this spicy stewed meat probably in most places. Now, if you're familiar with stewed meat, like maybe you have had beef stew, I'm gonna tell you, by adding the carne guisada into your beef stew, you are gonna notch that up so many levels because the flavoring is just divine. I've cooked it with beef, you can cook it with pork, you can do it with chicken, okay? All right, so using my meat separator, I'm just gonna break up the chunks that are now happening. And my sweet potato has been telling me 5 minutes are up. We're just gonna check them, we're gonna pierce them, see if my knife goes in there evenly and whether it's cooked enough. 5 minutes in the microwave. Is it done? It should go in there and just pop right through. Now I'm feeling a few little tough spots. So if you do find that's happening, I like flipping it a little bit. I'm gonna put the lid back on, and seriously, because it's still cooking, it's steaming, I'm just gonna put it in for about another minute. While that yam is in the microwave for its last minute, in our kitchen utensil set, this is our flipper. I've just sort of let this start to cook, and we're just gonna flip it over. And remember, we want it to start turning brown. It's important when you're cooking that you don't overcook, but that all your meat is cooked before we add the liquid, because once the liquid kicks in, you're not going to get that caramelizing flavoring. I've also got the oven on to 450 degrees because once I stuff my pepper, I'm actually gonna tuck it back into the oven for just a few minutes for it to melt some cheese over. Next, we're going to start adding some more ingredients to this. I've washed a green pepper using our ceramic knife. Just gonna cut around. This is how I normally do my peppers. That way I'm not getting any seeds. And I want these chopped fairly fine because they're going on top of a potato. So I don't want big, huge chunks. Next, we're going to take an onion. And we're just going to let the flavors start cooking up, and our onions to get translucent and our peppers to get a little soft. This is going to probably take, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe. So let's go check our yam. Here we go again. I just want to make sure that my meat, this will actually cut the onion as well, is in nice bite-sized pieces. And you can see there's browning happening inside here now. My meat is all cooked up, my onions. About another minute, and then we'll add the seasoning mix. Okay, so it's now been a total of 6 minutes. Perfect. Take it out of the steamer and be careful that you don't burn yourself. In fact, as I'm saying that, let's grab a little glove here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half so I can start stuffing it. Now that our sweet potato has had an opportunity to cool down a little bit so you can handle it, we're going to just take our ceramic knife and we're basically going to make a boat. I sort of like giving about 1/4 of an inch trim around the outside. And then we're just going to scoop the insides out. An easy way to do this is make sure that you cut into cubes, because I'm literally going to be adding the cubes very carefully towards the end. All right, I can see that our onion has become translucent. Now I want to add our flavoring, right? Now this is going to make a really nice cumin flavored gravy. Oh my gosh, guys, I so wish you were able to smell my kitchen right now. It already smells like a Tex-Mex restaurant. And because I want some nice gravy in here, I do want to add maybe an additional 1/2 cup of water. We're just going to let this reduce, get rid of some extra liquid, but make sure, just like when you're doing your tacos, that you're getting this seasoning all mixed up in that ground meat, peppers, and onions. Okay, now we've got our sweet potato that's been sort of cooked. I like chopping it up a little bit so it's easier to remove, and just taking your spoon and your 4-cup prep bowl. What we're gonna do is carefully just lift these chunks out. We wanna make sure we have about 1/4 of an inch around the outside so that it holds the seasoning of our meat inside it. I'm going to be using our 1/4 sheet pan with the liner. And now that I've got one of my sweet potatoes prepped, right, you can see that it's a boat or a bowl. I'll do exactly the same to this one as well. So I've got my sweet potato here. All we're going to do now is we're going to carefully just add this into our bowl. We're not going to waste anything. We're going to carefully mix it. Of course, it's going to look beautiful. It's going to taste even better. Now I'm being really careful not to break this up. Some of the pieces were already ground, but they're certainly going to clump together anyway. I just don't want to make a mishmash of this. I actually want to be able to see that it still looks like a stew with the onion, the meat, the green pepper, and of course the orange from the yam. So our boats are ready. Our meat is done. In our kitchen utensil set, this sauté spoon is absolutely fabulous. Of course, we've got this great flavoring. And what we're going to do now is we're simply going to use the sauté spoon to add and stuff this to our sweet potato. Now, you're going to definitely have leftovers, and you do want to have this nice and heaping, but you're not going to throw this out. One of the best things about using Epicure and cooking at home is you can cook once and eat twice. So tonight it's going to be a stuffed sweet potato, but tomorrow I can add some additional, like a nice salad to this, and this could be another meal separate. Of course, it's going to have the sweet potato flavoring in it, but it's going to be a balanced meal as well. Okay, we've got our boats filled. Oops, let's get this little guy back on there. With a little bit of cheese, we're just going to put this in the oven now for a couple minutes. Just long enough for the cheese to melt. Now, a couple things you may want to put on once it's done. If you like coriander or cilantro, same thing. One's a seed, one's the leaf. You can certainly add that. You may also want to add an avocado. Give it a twist. There's our avocado. And then you may want to just add a few little slices. This avocado's just perfect. Grab a spoon. And we can literally just scoop this out. So we can add it on top. I'm going to make sure that we use a baking rack so as I'm pulling that out of the oven. It's going to be hot. When you purchase these, I do want to let you know these wire baking racks are sold in sets of 2. So you can just have it to the side here, and I'm just going to pull this out of the oven and get it ready to plate. Our cheese is melted. You can see that. Get it set on here. Now, like I said, if you love cilantro, you may want to put a little bit of cilantro on top. And then we're going to take our avocado, get a few little slices. Boy, this avocado is just ripe. Just fan it out a bit. And as I've always said, you always eat with your eyes first. Now, doesn't that look like a fabulous dinner? It certainly will be tasty. I can smell it already. So thank you all for coming to my cooking class today. Remember, the beautiful part about Epicure is when you grab these meal solutions, you can modify them as you want, just because the recipe is on the back. For making it with beef in the pot, you could put this in a slow cooker. You could use stuffed potatoes. The options are endless. Thank you again for coming to my cooking class. See you again on another Thursday. Recipes can be found at jmflavors.com. If you're looking for any of the product that I've been using today, of course, you're going to find that on my website. And if you have any questions, I'm your person. Take care. And again, thank you for popping in. Bye for now.